Welcome back to Urso's Reviews, and for the second review of the week, I am going to reintroduce an old favorite that I just reviewed previously. I'm going to review The Green Mile. I'm not sure if you can read that, but The Green Mile is actually an adapted Stephen King book, which I read last year during New Zealand, and it was a great time. And it was a book I actually got really into. It was something I've heard before, and I really wanted to get into the book. And when I read the book, I had seen the film previously before the book, but I wanted to rewatch the film and see how much they captured. So I went and rewatched the film last year and reviewed it. But I did a written review. So I want to do a video review, and it's gonna get the treatment that it deserves. So, what is The Green Mile about? Well, it is following the story of a man, Paul Edgecombe, Tom Hanks, story about his time working at a prison as a prison guard, I guess, in the E block, as they call it. And in E block is the block where the inmates are waiting on death row on the electric chair, because was still around in that time. And it was during the Depression, and it introduces you to Paul Edgecombe as Tom Hanks, who seems to be having a lot of problems with his urinary region, and the poor bugger suffers a lot through that for the first half of the film, and you feel very sorry for him. And yeah, and the film is about him meeting this new inmate by the name of John Kofi, and he's really unsure whether or not John is a real killer of what he was accused of when they caught him and brought him to them. And that is kind of like the start of the story of what happens, because there's something that happens throughout the movie. If you don't want to be spoiled, I'll just I'll quickly review this up. So pretty much, if you want to watch this movie, it is a movie to watch. I recommend it. It is one of those movies you just have to watch before you die. I have to recommend it, and it's a book I recommend you should read as well, by Stephen King. Easy enough book to find. Now, spoilers, so don't watch this if you don't want to hear about the movie at all. Okay? So, during the movie, John Kofi, during one of the introducing of one of the new inmates named William Wharton, or who's acted by Sam Rockwell. Sorry, I had to use my notes. I was about to say Tom Hanks. I'll refer to his character's name. Paul Edgecombe is suffering through some pain through the urinary tract infection, and he is in excruciating pain. So then, John Kofi really needs to see him. He wants him to come over here and see him so he can help him. As he sees to help him, he actually grabs onto his groinal region and cures his urinary tract infection. Crazy, huh? So that's gone, and he seems to be very nothing happened. He never had the urinary tract infection or nothing like that. So he goes on with his life, and he seems happy enough of that. The next thing that happens in the movie is that he is trying to figure out whether John Kofi actually did do the murder, in which he's still sort of on the fence. But when he sees that later on in the film, one of the inmates they talk about this mouse, Mr. Jingles, that Edward Delacroix, one of the inmates, loves, and he decides to keep a hold of this mouse. Unfortunately, Percy Whitmore, one of the other prison guards, is a bit of a dickhead. Decides to try and murder this mouse because he's been made a fool of, and he's been laughed at by this French inmate for quite some time. And unfortunately, the mouse sort of gets injured, but John Kofi's able to bring it back to life. or fix up the injury that it had. Throughout that, you just still your ideas change about John Kofi. Whether this guy actually did do what he did, whether he did murder these two girls at the start that he holds the heads of in the start. And he's in this one scene, he's crying and he's holding the heads and he's really just upset about it. And you think, did he really do that? And there's a lot of words that he says because the guy is not very mentally stable up there. Michael Clarke Duncan did an excellent job acting, by the way, of John Kofi. And you kind of think the way he says things like, I tried to take it back, but it was too late. And you really think, like, did you do that? Like, you don't think that. You kind of are conflicted whether he did do it or not. And it really troubled me in the book when I was reading it. I'm like thinking, did he really do it? I don't think he did. And then later on, you find out that they want to help out the warden of their cell block. His wife had gotten this terrible cancer in her brain or something. She was very ill, and they took John Kofi to her because they knew about his gift, and they knew that if anyone could fix it, it would be him. And he was able to fix it. There was a bit of a situation when they got back to the prison. Some people got shot and some people got sent away. But yeah, that's happened. And after all of that, and after Tom Hanks has figured out that John didn't do it, that John wasn't the bad guy, and they figured out who the real bad guy was, he still had to be executed. And it is so gut-wrenchingly sad. Like, it really hits you hard to know when this poor guy that had nothing to do with the murder of these two girls is still going to face the electric chair, and that the victim's parents have no idea that he had nothing to do with it, and they just assume that he did it because he was out there at the scene. And it's just gut-wrenching because you just really get emotional because of the character development between Tom Hanks and John Kofi. This film is excellent, guys. Like a film in character development, the relationship between Tom Hanks and Michael Clarke Duncan is just excellent. Their chemistry works so well. Michael Clarke Duncan is an excellent supporting actor, and he played this role really well. It really was limited to what he could do with John Kofi, because in the book, John Kofi is not very verbally, like, you know, he's no Shakespeare in words and all that, but he does excellent job in portraying the character of John Kofi, and I love this performance. This was an excellent movie. It's a very sad movie as well. Like I said, if you're still with me at the moment now, guys, like I said, the acting, the suspense at times. There is so much suspense in so many scenes. They just do so many scenes excellently. And scenes that don't even involve John Kofi and involve other inmates. It really is sad to know that you see them get hit with the electric chair, and you feel like the way that is going down, like, you know, it's really sad, and it's really like bad. Obviously, they don't tell you what they did. These inmates did, except for John. They tell about what he does, and yeah, that's about it, really. And then you got the music in the background, that in the scenes that just, especially the last scene, man, that it got me so hard. That last scene, just seeing poor Michael Clarke Duncan and Tom Hanks shedding a tear, and they all shedded tears actually. And just, yeah, it's just an excellent, and just the fact that it's just a great shot movie with a little bit of CGI. Like I said, that's probably the only thing I can disagree on, that some of the CGI kind of felt out of place in some scenes. But not that it was a big deal, not really. Like, they could have done without it. Like, you know, they could have done something a bit different, like maybe even some smoke, like practical smoke or something. Like for some scenes that they were showing John taking the illness out. I mean, that was about it, really. That's all I could really say. But other than that, nothing else to say about it. No other bad things, no other good things. It's just an excellent film. It's a 9 out of 10, so it's going to go up in my favorites list for a long time. It's an excellent film. I recommend you seeing it. It's cheap to buy on DVD. If you can't, it should be available on Netflix or other streaming sites. Anyway, thank you for tuning into Wilso's Reviews. I hope you enjoy. So, I'm on YouTube now. Please, if you like these videos, like them. Subscribe if you are interested in more content and want us to view more content every week. if you're also interested, please, I would love for a share. It helps my channel get a little bit more bigger every once in a while, and it gets more people to watch. Thank you again, guys, for your time. I hope you enjoy the review. Thank you again, guys, and stay tuned. Bye.